My name is Mark Tucker. I'm the Director of HR, Technology and Analytics for Kong Inc. So Kong Inc., what we do, we're an API management platform. So we manage all API traffic for our customers, from just basic traffic for general API calls to controlling that data, to security of that data, to make sure there's no violations of the API calls. But again, just really connecting our vendors to their customers however they need to via APIs. I've been a Visier customer now total 5.5 years, but over 2 companies. This is my second. Well, the reason why we went with Visier at Kong was mainly I came into the company and I was like, I need this. Being a small startup, we had no understanding of what our people analytics were, where they were, what were they doing, who they reported to, how were they moving around. And the real insight into the data was just being able to see it. And so startups, learning as I go with startups, the big thing is they don't always know what they're doing. They don't know what the left hand's doing to the right hand. It's not a bad thing in a startup because everyone just wants to drive growth and expand. And so by having Visier brought in, we were able to suddenly see, hey, where actually are all of our employees? Who are they reporting to? How are they moving? Are we losing people in geographic regions? Are we adding people in geographic regions? All of that we just couldn't see. Like no one could look at a chart and say, hey, here's our company. It was, here's 10 different spreadsheets, try to figure it out. There was brief talk of Tableau and I said, it'll cost too much. To implement what you want to do, it'll cost too much because you'll have to hire a Tableau developer. Not to bash Tableau or anything, they definitely have a niche, but Visier gives you that all-in focus on the people data. So it's not like, oh, this person's done industry data for manufacturing and they know how to manage that data set. This Visier knows people data and they know what's important and what to focus on. So yeah, we really didn't look at anything else. Well, one of the main reasons we got Visier in the first place was just to see the data. Like that's the biggest thing. Like what's the history, how people are moving, having a place to go look at history. Like what was our headcount a year ago? What was our headcount 6 months ago? That was the first thing, was just being able to see the data and then clean it. Because this is my second implementation with Visier. The big thing is once you see it, you know where there's data problems. It's like, well, these 2 people are the same job. Why is their data so different, sort of thing. So being able to clean the data, have accurate data, have up-to-date data and timely data. All of that was our main initial use case. Now that we're 2 years in, it's refocusing into how we can actually grow our company. So a lot of focus on talent acquisition, as well as compensation. How are we doing? Are we paying people the right amount? Are we paying them too much, too little? Is there too much disparity? Again, all of it comes down to Visier allows us to see it. And then we can actually start drilling into the insights and stuff. Without being able to see it, it's just numbers on a spreadsheet somewhere that finance might have, or an HR person might have, or Workday may have. But with Visier, we make all the connections and we can actually display it in a way that people understand. Big accomplishments that we've had from our use cases is understanding our range penetration for our offers. So how well are we actually, when we make an offer, are we just maxing out the budget right at the start? Or are we choosing the right range for the person we are actually bringing in? There are a bunch of other little small use cases that we've solved for, like span of control and manager instability, just making sure we understand how people are moving around. And then also, how many people do we have in certain locations, and then making sure that we have their data tracked properly. So people don't, with freedom of movement in the European Union, for instance, people can move, but as an employer, we got to move the data with them at the same time. But visibility, being able to focus on our growth, and as well as making sure we're doing it with an eye towards financial sustainability. From a technical standpoint, the thing that Visier gives us is the data agnostic kind of approach to things. I think I have 7 or 8 different sources of data now coming in, and once it's in Visier, it's just one data source. If I didn't have Visier in my life, I would have a much higher stress level than I do. Actually, Visier makes it so when it comes to people analytics or questions we get, I don't really stress. And if there was ever a large data ask, it would be a raging fire of work trying to get data and make sure it was accurate. When a VP comes to me and says, hey, I need to know turnover in this weird subset cohort of like these 47 people or this job over the past 3 years, I can say, okay, give me 5 minutes and I'll get it for them, send them the screenshot of the analysis, and they're good to go. If I didn't have that, number one, our VPs wouldn't ask. Our VPs wouldn't ask us those questions to find out that information. And anytime we were asked information, it would be a fire. It would be a huge raging fire trying to get it done. Just as example, our board of director slides that we send every quarter to our board used to take 4 days of manual effort. And even after the 4th day, no one was 100% sure that the data was accurate on all the spreadsheets and slides we put out. But now we are 100% confident the data is ready on the 1st of the quarter so that we can actually start doing questions and any insights and anything we want to add. So Visier has changed the game to take out the complexity of data and make it more about the questions. What do you want to accomplish? That sort of thing. My advice for other people who are implementing Visier is make sure the person who understands the raw data is part of your team. Don't have it be the IT function or something like that. Make sure that person is involved in the project on your team, understanding what's actually happening. And if they don't understand people analytics directly, educate them on what's important, what's privacy, what can be sent, what can't be sent. But when you have that person who's providing the data separate from your team, it just increases the time to do anything, any small change, any small tweak. So make sure there's someone technical or data-driven on your team to work with you. The enhance is a big thing because our talent acquisition platform has an API, but it's not one of the Visier connectors. But now with enhance, we can look at, hey, we can build the API connection for the data and the mapping and stuff. So it's definitely going to be something we are going to look at. Because if we can get the API connector working for our talent acquisition, I'm like, I can eliminate all the manual stuff and remove that data warehouse that we had to create. So definitely looking at enhancing that. And then down the road, I definitely see the extend for and bringing in our business metrics. So not our sales stuff, but our like engineering or our professional services group, bringing in that data to help build dashboards that will actually encompass everything from our GKSOs or KPIs down to just basic productivity for a team.